over 3,600 dollars of contracts that we have with the U.S. We are the largest purchaser of alcohol in the world. We buy over 3,600 products from 35 states. I talked to the governor of Kentucky and Mitch McConnell. Don't touch our bourbon. I'm going after absolutely everything. And I don't want to. We keep the lights on to 1.5 million homes in manufacturing in New York, in Michigan, and in Minnesota. If he wants to destroy our economy and our families, I will shut down the electricity going down to the U.S. And I'm telling you, we will do it. It's unfortunate. I would rather ship you more electricity, ship you more critical minerals. I want to ship you more energy, more potash to keep your farmers going, and uranium that you use for your nuclear power. It comes through from Saskatchewan over to Ontario, and it's going to be a massive, massive problem. I'm telling you, we love the Americans. Canadians love Americans. I love the U.S. Everyone does, and not one American friend. When I lived there for 20 years, I've talked to all of them. Hardcore Republicans are saying this is the biggest mistake President Trump has done, and we're dead against it.
And so,
I've yet to find one supports him.
Tariffs is to emphasize that our government, and indeed all of Team Canada, premiers, business leaders, community leaders, are focused on one thing: making sure that come Tuesday and for the weeks that follow, there are no tariffs imposed on Canada. The tariffs that the president speaks of for next week are centered around the fentanyl crisis that they're facing in the United States, but that we are also facing in Canada. And for months now, I've been emphasizing that less than 1% of the fentanyl that arrives in the United States comes from Canada. But we know that even that 1% or less than 1% should be reduced, which is why we've invested $1.3 billion in strengthening our border capacities with Black Hawk helicopters, with drones, with 10,000 people patrolling our borders and keeping Canadians and Americans safe. And we will continue, as we are this week, with ministers and heads of agencies, including the commissioner of the RCMP and the head of the CBSA and our fentanyl czar down in Washington to demonstrate that this is an issue that we should be working together on. And that Canada is not the source of problems for the United States. We will continue to do that work and do everything necessary to avoid these tariffs coming in. But like I said, if on Tuesday there are unjustified tariffs brought in on Canada, we will have an immediate and extremely strong response, as Canadians expect.
This is a crazy way to handle our allies, right? He is literally reaching out to Russia at the same time that he's putting a 25% tariff on Canadian goods. And I know what's going to happen for our farmers. We have got even some of the fertilizer and things like that. If you look at how much that adds to a cost for an acre of corn or an acre of soybeans, it's an unbelievable market. This has been one of the really crown jewels of American economy. The fact that we are able to export agriculture and have free trade back and forth. There's always things we can do to improve it. The USMCA was negotiated, the Mexican-Canadian trade agreement, under President Trump. He was always proud of that trade agreement. And if we want to make changes, say I have some pet peeves about Canadian dairy and how that works, okay, fine. That's a place to do it. Not with this across-the-board 25% tariff.
It's Coffee on the Vid, and do y'all see that they say we could be heading right into a global trade war? The USA, Canada, China, all these tariffs, imports, exports, this ish is a mess. And I've been seeing things heating up between the good old USA and Canada for a few months or so now. As always, you know, I'm not the political analyst, but I need to hear from those that stay up on all this in the comments below, as well as everyone else. Your thoughts, opinions. Subscribe to the channel for, you know, all the coffee talk on music, news, sports, and more. But yeah, like Trump has really been going at it with a lot of these Canadian politicians. few months back is when I first started seeing it. It's almost like South Park, bigger, longer, uncut. Pause. The movie. Y'all seen that? The whole Blame Canada thing? Can you guys believe that that got nominated for a Grammy or an Oscar or something like that? That's wild to me. Who would have thunk it? I don't know if it won. But, oh yeah, and another movie, Canadian Bacon, in Niagara Falls, New York, and in Ontario, right on the border, USA and Canada were actually going to war. This is just a trade war, and it's really wild. We saw a few different Canadians speaking there from, I forget that lady's name, Trudeau, and Doug Ford. You may remember his brother, R.I.P. to the late Mayor Rob Ford of Toronto. This dude was wild. He had a bit of a scandal and some funny sound bites and interviews and stuff like that.
Well, we'll take you to the Senate in a moment, but first to Toronto City Hall. Adrian Arsenault has Rob Ford's admission and apology. Adrian.
Peter, it may be a little bit hard to fathom, but this was an even stranger day than usual at City Hall in Toronto, and the drama is not done. Hear that? All those camera flashes are the sound of anticipated accountability. Maybe even the sound of some expecting a mayoral resignation. They didn't get one.
I know. I embarrassed everyone in the city, and I will be forever sorry.
Sorry, but staying put, ready for re-election.
And on October 27th of 2014, I want the people of this great city to decide whether they want Rob Ford to be their mayor.
Curious end to a genuinely rattling day. An early oddity was when the man known for raging at reporters seemed to be egging them on to ask the right question.
You asked me a question back in May, and you can repeat that question.
What was he up to? Well, this.
Do you smoke crack cocaine? Exactly. Yes, I have smoked crack cocaine.
When,
But
sir?
no, do I? Am I an addict? No.
When have you
I tried it? Probably in one of my drunken stupors, probably approximately about a year ago.
Precisely when? Frankly, he said he can't remember.
I don't even remember after some of the stuff that you guys see me, the state I've been in. That's a problem.
Yes, it is, but perhaps not a legal problem, because he and police know full well that admitting to smoking crack a while ago isn't actionable. The rough timing may coincide with the video, the one he once denied existed. At least one of the videos police say they seized in a June raid in Toronto. The spring news of a video of Ford allegedly smoking crack sparked a massive police investigation. Already hundreds of pages of documents have been released that speak to Ford and accused drug-dealing friend Alexandra Lisi, who's now charged with extortion connected to the infamous video. Those documents raise so many questions, including whether it was the mayor dealing with the maintenance and utility bills from that so-called crack house where the video was reportedly recorded. In time, answers may come, but today was for real. Ford has always been extremely close to the federal Conservatives, and there's disappointment from that friendly corner today.
I'm the Attorney General of Canada. I'm the Justice Minister. You know where I stand on the use of illegal drugs. As a human being, I think that the Mayor of Toronto needs to get help.
He may or may not. Isn't clear on that. Nor is it really clear why Ford changed his story and confessed now.
So I wasn't lying. You didn't ask the correct questions.
Not true at all.
You smoke crack cocaine, sir. Have you ever used crack cocaine? Have you done any illegal drugs since you've been mayor?
Anything else?
All the questions were asked. It's just that Rob Ford only now feels the need to talk. He may suspect more is coming. Police have indicated there could be hundreds more pages of documents and wiretaps yet to be released. That may potentially mean more revelations. Now, City Hall is obviously a lot more than the mayor, and the councillors today seem to veer from flat-out shock to just weary, and some maintained that they know Rob Ford is adored by his base and that this will only improve his standing in some people's eyes. And on that point, they're right, that by saying sorry and staying put, many people in the city will only feel better about the man. Peter?
Adrian, what about the criminal investigation? Where are we on that?
Well, it's worth remembering that there are no criminal charges against Rob Ford. The police have been very clear that they don't see anything in the video or the documents to support charges, and there really isn't a mechanism for removing him as mayor. So right now, really what you're dealing with is a man's political and largely personal problems. Peter?
All right, Adrian, thank you. Adrian Arsenault, just outside Toronto City Hall.
That's why he wants to be involved in everything. He wants to fight everybody's battles. And he's going to kill you. Excuse me, kill you. Don't do it. The kids are important to you. That's what drives you, baby. That's what I love. I think everybody okay? I don't know. Your children, your family, your kids. Your footballers. Your kids that play football. That's what drives you. Family.
Drive with the minority. I'm right wing.
You're right wing?
No, they say I'm just right wing.
Oh, yeah.
Radical.
Yeah, I'm sort of. Sure. Oh, yeah. What the Lee Van. Lee Van back in that right now. Trudeau right there. I like to get that Justin Trudeau and shove my foot as far up his ass, because I'm sure it goes real far. I'm sure my tickle his nose hairs with my foot up his ass, because he's such a shit to the man. I hate Trudeau, man.
He's just saying. Taking on, bro. Hello?
No, it's not.
I want to release this video. Your mayor has it is what it is, and I can't change the past. And I don't know. I tried. Yes, it's my mistake. I know. I have no back left. I know I do. It's wrong, Rob Ford. Folks, I'll do anything for your companies do for yourself at home. Rob Ford. It's a fact. I smoke crack. I don't recall. I want to be high and smoke now. And I want to smoke 1,000 pounds. The city has the best crack. I'm busy, man. Game, I explain. I love crack cocaine.
You guys remember that RIP to that, man? That whole Jay-Z Tom Ford parody into Rob Ford just killed me, man. It was absolute comedy, and the whole crack smoking thing. He had some dudes he chill with, and they like to party and get high, and one of the bros was slanging some work, and he got caught up in that. And apparently, if you guys heard the different reports there, someone got charged with extortion. I guess they tried to shake Rob Ford down, if I'm not mistaken, but he didn't live too much longer after that, and it turned out he had been battling cancer all along. It's so funny too, his brother Doug looks like the out of shape, overweight, basehead cousin of Brock Lesnar. Do you guys see that? Like, what the fuck? And speaking of WWE and Brock Lesnar, this whole US-Canada drama has been heating up to the point that at Canadian sporting events, when the United States national anthem is played, people are booing.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets of red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh.
As you see, that was a WWE event in Canada the Canadian fans were not too happy to hear the US of A national anthem. And for all the WWE fans, or even if you're not a pro wrestling fan, how about that John Cena won the strap and made a heel turn? This kind of is reminiscent of Hulk Hogan. You guys remember the red and yellow Hulkamania had kind of ran its course. And when the outsider, Scott Hall, RIP to him as well, Kevin Nash, made their way to Atlanta, Ted Turner to the South, got that big guaranteed money deal. We're talking about money and trade wars and stuff like that. That sparked the Monday Night Wars between WWE and WCW. They needed a mystery third man for that iconic storyline that changed the face of pro wrestling forever. And Hulk Hogan did the unthinkable, ditched the red and yellow, and became Hollywood Hogan, the leader of the NWO. And there was kind of a foreshadowing of that. Any pro wrestling fans happening to tune into this video, comment if you've seen the whole thing when he was going at it with the Dungeon of Doom. And he donned the black attire for a little while. He had to get in touch with the dark side of Hulkamania to go there and take on all the monsters that the Dungeon of Doom had to offer. It's crazy. RIP Kevin Sullivan as well. But you heard Doug Ford. He says Canadians love Americans. They love the people. They love coming to the US of A. I used to live in a border town, and there's different things. I got a lot of love for Canada and the Canadians. They catch a lot of flack. You know what I'm saying? We've been seeing that play out with the whole Drake, Kendrick Lamar beef. There's some Canadian comedy, Canadian roasting that gets thrown in the mix of that. But Canada's a cool country. I fuck with them heavy, and I don't really know what to make of all this. Once again, I'm not the political guy, but anything in the political realm, I always question more than I question anything. Once again, that's the whole basis and idea of the Coffee Talk platform, is to discuss all the different topics with the people out there. And we try to break down what's really going on, you know, because not every news story is what it really seems at surface level or face value. There could be different agendas. There could be propaganda in the mix. Something could be a play. And I don't know, you know, with this, is this like what's really going on? Typically Trump, I think, had a good rapport with Canada, and you hear them talking about the Fenty crisis and immigration and the borders. Like, is this with Trump, you know, putting these tariffs in place, which they were supposed to go into play today, but then I heard other reports that it could be delayed until February. And from what I'm understanding, uranium and crude oil and these energy imports that I guess the Canadian, the country of Canada makes up like 59% of those power imports to the good old US of A. If that does indeed get cut off, like the power won't literally go out, it will be a raise in inflation. And that's what I'm wondering is this all some for real, what we're seeing it as drama, or is this just some shtick to kick up dust and kick up prices and cause inflation and stuff like that? I really never know what to make of any of this, but Trump seemingly always had a good record with Canada. But back to what I was saying is all this stuff about the border, illegal immigration, Fenty Wap and whatnot. Canada makes up like 1% of all the fluffery. It's more at the southern border. So I don't know if the reason that gets brought up is Trump is talking about these tariffs as a sanction for that kind of business, like him telling them to get their border in order or what. But that seemingly doesn't really make sense with those low numbers. And Doug Ford, I can't really blame the guy, right? If this again is what it really all seems to be, and there isn't some shady stuff going on, I don't really blame the guy. You know, he's like, we always have had love for America. I've always had a good track record in dealing with them, and the stuff that Trump is trying to push could cripple the Ontario economy. We're gonna fight back and do what we can to bust his balls, pause a little bit as well. And then you throw in the mix China and tariffs with them, and The one individual talking about this ain't no way to treat your allies, that Trump is in combos with Russia. Is that what she was saying when he's putting these tariffs in place against Canada? Like, why would he seemingly collaborate with the commies, right? I don't know. But yeah, this is just pretty much badness, and I'm trying to find out what everyone thinks again. If there is more to the story, or this is just once again a play to cause inflation. If this is something to worry about, if you think it will solve itself, and why again Trump would seemingly collaborate with Russia, if you believe that is indeed accurate. But from all my research, it seems it is indeed accurate that US of A and some other places truly do rely on Canada for these energy imports. So it almost kind of sounds like sabotage in a way. What will be the outcome? What do you think of it all? Hit the comments with it. Subscribe. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Once again, this is Jay Coffee Talk, talking music, news, sports, current events, life, and much more. Do you think a global trade war is unavoidable at this point? Thanks for watching, and I'm gone.